So for the last 8 weeks over the summer, Luke and I have been doing the Baselang Grammarless Program. It's an 8-week course or a 4-week course depending on what you opt for, but the course is 80 hours long. So we did 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. And over the course of the summer, we recorded little snippets of how we were feeling after classes. So I will let you have a look at that. Down below, you'll be able to skip through to see how we felt throughout the summer. And then at the end of the video, we will recap the whole course. So we've just had our first week of Baselang's Grammarless Program, and that's basically been 5 straight days of 2-hour lessons, 2 hours a day. So, how you feeling?
I think it's been a good first week.
Yeah.
I had 2 different teachers because my teacher had a bit of an issue, but it was really well sorted out.
Yeah. But I've been speaking, personally, I've been speaking more Spanish in the last week than I have in a long time. Obviously I work from home, I work in English, and I work by myself, so I don't have the time really in my day to speak this much Spanish, so it's been awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, like, they've worked a lot on my pronunciation, which has been good, and it's just been good sort of, well, we talked about this, taking it out of our own hands, to speak, listen to, like, practice Spanish 2 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah. Week three. I feel like our teachers have really gotten to know us and our level, like, better than the first 2 weeks, I think. Yeah. I feel like I like how things are unfolding. There's like a bit of a, for me, there's like a bit of a structure now. We're doing like pronunciation, and then we're practicing like speaking a bit, and then we're going on to the lessons, and then we're kind of wrapping up by like using the vocabulary and stuff from the lessons and like have a bit of a conversation, and so I like that I sort of know what's happening every day now.
No, I think I like with the curriculum, even though it's grammarless, it's still teaching you good structures, and you see a lot of the same words coming up over and over again, even though it's sort of new vocab, it's also previous vocab, and it's starting to go in. I think a good thing that I actually got from one of the emails from Baselang was that Anki app that using, and that's been really helpful, and I didn't know about that before Baselang, and it's actually one of their sort of more generic emails, but I read it and I was like, that app's been really helpful to assist.
Anki app is like a flashcard app, but you make your own flashcards, or you can like use other people's flashcards that they've made. So we've been making ones with our Baselang vocabulary, which has been good.
It's been great. So obviously it's hard. There's lessons you get off and you're just like
defeated a bit, nearly.
But I think that's all in our own heads.
So we just finished week 4. We are literally halfway through Baselang now. And I feel like it's finally starting to, for me at least, like all come together with like the vocabulary, grammar, but I mean, we're learning grammar, but not in like the sort of strict sense of the word.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's just all starting to make sense for me, and I'm understanding like how it's fitting together in my mind. It's finally starting to like make a ladder? I don't know.
Interesting.
A step stool?
No, I think you can see how it sort of, it goes forward, it revisits. I think that's really good. Like you say, so much of the vocab is repeated, but you use it in a different tense, a different way. But it's starting to solidify it in my head as well. For sure.
So we have just finished, for me, week 6, and for you, week 7. Basically, I had a week off because my teacher had like a situation that she needed to attend to, and I decided to defer my lessons for another week, so I'm going to end a week later than Luke, but I mean, how's your week been?
Yeah, good. We've finished with the so-called, the lessons now, all the situationals, all the conversationals we're done, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah, me either.
Because when there's no lessons, it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Are they going to go back over it? Are we just going to talk? Are they going to find new things for me to do? But yeah, no, it's been good. We've sort of mixed and matched, a lot of conversation. Spent a lot of time just talking in general, asking questions, answering questions, talking about different topics that just have come up. It's not been sort of planned, which I really like. So I think that's very situated. It's like quite real. I feel like for the first time, maybe not for the first time, but I feel like truly now at this stage of the course, I have learned a lot. Like I understand so much more than I did before the course, and I can speak and say a lot more of the things that I want to say. Yeah, with confidence. Right. As well. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we noticed that obviously just being back now, you know, in Mexico City, and you go out and the situations that we could handle before, we can handle now with a lot more confidence and then some as well. A lot more comprehension. Yes, absolutely. Well, it's even like that waitress who used a different tense that we've learned on this course. So before would have just gone, okay, you know, whereas now we're like, oh, okay. You know, we still said the same thing, but we understood. The okay was understood with understanding. So true. So true. Okay, so we're finished with the course. We finished about 3 weeks ago now. 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yep. We have since started using the Baselang real-world program, so we're still studying every day, Monday to Friday, but with a totally different curriculum. So the pros of the Grammarless program, what do you think? I think consistency of the lessons. Yeah, like the fact that we had them 5 days a week. Yeah, I mean, you're being exposed to, you know, 10 hours of Spanish every week for 8 weeks, and I think even though sometimes you don't feel like doing it, the fact that it's there and you can't change it, it's well, you can't. I mean, you can change it, but without good reason. Like, so yeah, you're exposed to 2 hours of Spanish a day, 5 days a week. I think that's massive in terms of consistently hearing it, speaking it. You can't not get better. Applying it. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a big one for me. I liked the curriculum for the most part in the way that we were constantly learning something new, even though we've obviously been learning Spanish on and off for the last few years. We really haven't studied properly like this ever before, so we were learning a lot of new vocabulary, a lot of new tenses, ways to use different vocabulary. Like, it was, I liked that part of the curriculum for sure. Yeah, I think for me another one is sort of like how applicable the curriculum is in terms of it's sort of more realistic situations where you could be asked these sort of conversational questions and be able to reply, and it's sort of, it's almost like question answer style learning sometimes, and the grammar, the vocab comes back to sort of you do it, you revisit it, you do it, you revisit it, applying it to different sort of tenses or situations, and I think that really helped to solidify the vocab and what we were actually learning. Definitely. And I think for me the best part of the course was that because we were taking these lessons 2 hours a day, like the whole point of the course is that you're speaking Spanish constantly. You're speaking it and listening to it like the whole time. So for me, I've never been in a situation where like that's what I'm doing in a class. Like usually it's like, this is the grammar, fill in the blanks, like move on. Yeah, move to on. The next thing. So like we were speaking Spanish, which was awesome. Yeah, and I think every lesson you spent a good amount of time just having a chat. How was your day? What did you do yesterday? And without even really realising it, you're using a lot of the stuff you've been learning or doing, and that's obviously good. I think. And another thing for me is the teachers. Yes. Obviously, I think Baselang are quite sort of clever in the teachers that they actually have on their Grammarless program, and I think for good reason, because the teachers we had were good, right? And there was no complaints. No, about that. Absolutely not. They were great. Yeah, like I felt like because we have the same teacher for the whole time, you really get to know them. They get to know you. Your conversations evolve, and like that allowed for like a really great learning environment, I think. Yeah, and I think it scratches below the surface in terms of you're not just having the same old, how are you? I'm well, thanks, and blah blah blah. Yeah, where are you from? What do you do? You then start talking about so many different things, like experiences in your life, politics, you know, whatever you want to talk about, where you're applying such sort of different vocab and tenses than you do usually when you just go to the shop or you know, sit with someone. Yeah, exactly. So that was really good as well.
So with any program there are cons, and there were definitely a few. I would say the curriculum was too short. It was disappointing to get to week 5.5, 6, and like run out of curriculum. So we really spent the last like 2 weeks doing different things, and some days I was like, this is great, we're having a lot of conversation and we're revisiting ideas and tenses that I didn't really understand maybe the first time around, but there were also days where I felt like it was like filler, and maybe like having a longer curriculum would have allowed for more learning in those last 2 weeks rather than sort of like simply revisiting things.
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes, well, you could look at it a couple of ways. I think one would be, if you're going to have 8 weeks, then have probably 8 weeks of content.
Right.
So
other cons, we had a lot of trouble initially with our logins and stuff, because in addition to being able to take the Grammarless course, it's really great. You're also able to access like the real world teachers and have like conversation classes and practice outside of your 2 hours a day. And for the first, like, well, for me, the first 3 weeks, and for you, really, the first 4 weeks, like, we weren't able to sign up for those extra conversation classes, which was kind of frustrating, obviously.
I mean, obviously, for me, I think it's sort of a case of change the record, but for me, you know, it's just, it comes back to the sort of the back end for Baselang, that communication over the weekends, like, and I'm sure it's an easy fix. I hope they have fixed it. I mean, we won't do the Grammarless program again, but hopefully it's that weekend problem, because the contact we had obviously didn't seem to work weekends. Then it's like, well, who do I deal with?
Well, if something was wrong, if a teacher doesn't show up, like trying to deal with someone on a Saturday or Sunday was there was no dealing with anyone on a Saturday or Sunday. But we obviously liked Baselang so much that we're continuing to stick with them. We love the accessibility of the real world program, which now we pay $150 a month, and we receive unlimited classes. There's a curriculum there, which we can talk about in another video at another time. But I guess the question is, would you recommend this to anyone?
Yeah, I definitely would. I definitely would. I think you've got to know what you want from it, because if you're starting out absolutely no Spanish at all, and you know, we've both been there as well. You've got to know what you want out of the course, and you've got to be prepared to very much struggle sometimes. Which we were partly prepared for, partly frustrated by, but that's the way we learn. Like, we really like being good at things, and we're not good at Spanish, so it's difficult. Like, I think it depends what you want to get out of it. I think for me, I've always been lent more towards the sort of speaking and listening of Spanish, so you can apply it straight away. I mean, that's why now we've moved on to a little bit more grammar focus with the real world. But I think for me, I would definitely recommend it, because it's very sort of, it's real Spanish in my opinion. You can go out and apply it in restaurants, in conversations, wherever you go. And I think if you're starting from scratch, the progress you'll have is massive compared to when we first got to Mexico. And obviously, I mean, I didn't speak any Spanish. My progress was very slow, very small. Whereas when you're exposed to, obviously, like we were 2 hours a day with a native Spanish speaker,
we got a lot better in a very short period of time.
You're going to grow massively. And even if you were where we were, you sort of have an ear for Spanish. You sort of have a grasp of some
survival Spanish, and
I think,
a little bit extra.
I think it was still massive. It pushes you on so much. So no, I would definitely recommend it. I think bang for buck. If you break down how many hours and how much that would cost for the price of the course,
we worked out it's like less than $10 an hour for a lesson, which is
there's no comparison out there. I mean, we've done italki, and those lessons were as much, if not more.
Yeah, they were, and they didn't have the structure of it. No, it wasn't. No,
simple as that. So I think, you know, maybe there are more out there, but from what we've found so far.
It's definitely the best we've done.
Absolutely, I would definitely recommend it.
Highly recommend it. I hope you guys enjoyed this quite long video. If you have any questions about Baselang, let us know in the comments, and we will answer any questions that you have. We enjoyed it. We would recommend it, and see you next time. Bye.